And welcome back to the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports Radio 1350 AM. Now joining us, he's a catcher, he's a second baseman, all-around good guy, Austin Barnes of the Los Angeles Dodgers. And Austin, I guess I should say, first off, congratulations on clinching a National League West Division title.
Yeah, it was pretty fun to do that to San Francisco this last road trip. So yeah, it was cool. Thank you, Ben.
Well, how long did you guys enjoy it, and how much do you guys now focus on trying to get that home field advantage in the first round, and even going beyond that, looking how long you can make a postseason run here?
Yeah, I think you moved past it. It was a pretty fun night and experience, and especially in San Francisco was a pretty cool experience. But yeah, I think everybody's moved on trying to get this home field advantage for these last few games in the season. Hopefully, start the playoffs over in LA.
So what's it been like being able to be called up and be part of this playoff push for the Dodgers, and and seeing some playing time and getting out there and being a part of this?
It's awesome. It really is. It's it'd be my first season up in the big leagues, and to get to experience being in a playoff race and clinching the NL West and all that. You couldn't really ask for a better situation. So it was awesome, man. It's cool. It's good to experience all this, especially your first time through. I guess I'm getting pretty lucky right now.
Now, I know in the postseason, for each round, they kind of reshuffle that playoff roster. But for this first round in the division series against the Mets, have they told you, are you going to be on the roster? Do they want 3 catchers on the roster? Have they hinted at all like where you might end up?
No, not really. I think they're just worried about trying to finish strong right now for the season. And, afterwards they'll probably take a look at it and see what's going on. But right now I think they're just focusing on trying to win these last few games.
In your opinion, as a catcher and also as a second baseman, I mean, that makes you a little bit more valuable, I would assume, that you can play multiple positions on the field. How do you see maybe your postseason chances?
I'm not sure. They got a lot of veteran guys on this team, a lot of good players. It's a real deep staff. We're carrying a lot of guys right now in September, so we'll just see how it goes. There's just hopefully the best, but you never know.
Hey, Austin, has there been any point during your first major league season that kind of just, maybe you were in awe, kind of took your breath away, like, I don't know if it was stepping into the batter's box at Dodger Stadium for the first time, or maybe it was, catching a certain pitcher or facing a certain pitcher? Was a moment where you just kind of had to pinch yourself and said, wow, I'm really living the dream of a lot of youth baseball players, of playing Major League Baseball, but also playing for the LA Dodgers, a team that's, wildly popular here in the Inland Empire?
Yeah, you know what? Walking into those stadiums is a pretty cool experience. They're pretty, especially stadiums like St. Louis and San Francisco. That kind of takes you back for a second when you walk in there. It's nice stadiums where you see them on TV all the time, and actually being able to play in them is something different. But it was probably my first start after I caught that first ball. It was a moment where I was like, okay, now I actually played in the big league. So it was a cool experience, and something I'll never forget.
All right, Austin, before we let you go, final question. So is there a moment or a story that you can share with us, kind of behind the scenes, maybe a funny story with one of your teammates, or a conversation you might have had with Don Mattingly or another one of the players, that you can kind of, just pull the curtain back a little bit and give us some insight of what it's really like inside that Dodger locker room?
Story, this last weekend we did that rookie initiation thing, and we had to walk through San Francisco in our costumes and all that. That was a pretty interesting experience. So we were all wrestlers dressed up, all the rookies. So it was interesting.
What wrestler were you?
I was Ric Flair.
Woo, Ric Flair, huh?
Yeah. That's all part of it.
All right, Austin Barnes, the pride of Riverside Poly High School. Man, we really appreciate it. Hey, and I'm looking forward to a possible Dodgers-Astros World Series. You can go up against Jake Marisnick. How does that sound?
Yeah, that'd be pretty fun.
All right, thank you, Austin. We appreciate the time, and thank you for joining us here on the Inland Sports Show, Fox Sports Radio, 1350 AM.
All right, no problem, Pat.